Greetings, royal family. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to another review of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm going to be honest, this episode was kind of whack. You know, my hopes were up, but it was kind of whack. So thanks for clicking on the video. If you are a new royal family member, welcome. If you are a returning royal family member, you already know how this thing goes. All right. Opens up, we see Nene at Swag Boutique, all right? That's the opening of the episode. She's like, working, looking like she's, doing boss things, right? So we see Marlo. Marlo sachets on into the boutique, and she's talking to Marlo about a delivery that she received from Cynthia with a card extending an invite for them to sit down and talk. So I said, okay, cool. So Nene, she's willing to sit down with Cynthia, and she kind of wants to also put together a brunch with the other ladies. Now, this should be interesting. I said Nene wants to put together a brunch. But she did end up pulling the ultimate okie doke on us all. So I was thinking to myself, okay, Nene wants to kind of iron things out with the ladies. This should be interesting. We shall see. So we move on to Kenya. Cynthia shows up at her house, and Cynthia claims that she had to put Kenya on ice for a week because of the cookie lady thing. And it just seems so lame. Like, honestly, it seems so lame. And it's just kind of like, way to stick it to her, Cynthia. Ooh, you put her on ice for a week. I doubt that you weren't talking to her for a full 7 days. You probably just didn't see her. But whatever. Is it me? Or does it seem like Cynthia has to get clearance or like some subtle approval from Kenya, like anytime it comes to Cynthia talking to Nene, because she did tell, Cynthia did tell Kenya that she plans on meeting up with Nene, and Kenya's like, why? It's like, whatever, girl, you just... Cynthia, I don't know. I don't know with her, y'all. I don't know with her. So anyway, so Cynthia, she actually tries to confront Kenya about the cookie lady situation, which again was so pathetic. Kenya did apologize only after blaming Cynthia for not telling her that Cynthia had a conversation with Tanya before this meeting. I'm like, huh? Like, are you going to take ownership of what you did and apologize and not say, oh, well, I did it because you did this? And, Cynthia they were praying before they were eating. I think they were having lunch and they were praying. And Cynthia's like, forgive me if I smell like asphalt. And that's because my friend threw me under the bus. And it's just like, this is how you hold somebody accountable. What Kenya did to Tanya at that brunch was straight trash. Okay? Straight up trash. And we have seen it throughout this season and last season. We've seen it throughout this season that Cynthia really has a hard time calling Kenya out. She's almost like she's afraid. And if that's the way that she wants to have that friendship with Kenya, good luck. She has every right. So Cynthia goes into talking about Mike and his cheating ways and him cheating in the past. I think they talked about that, and he's supposed to be coming out with a book, if I'm not mistaken. That's what she said, right? So he's just kind of talking about how he cheated in all of his previous relationships. I still think that Mike and Cynthia are crazy because of the last episode of them having such adult conversation in front of Mike's daughter that caused her to cry and sob uncontrollably in her room. So I don't see it for either one of them. And I'm probably going to hold a grudge until the end of the season and probably into next season if Mike is still around. Because we know how flighty Cynthia can be. She'll get tired of Mike and then it's like, oh, I don't want to commit, and run off. Anyway, so Cynthia has the nerve to ask Kenya her thoughts on the matter as it pertains to Mike cheating in his past, and is he going to cheat in this relationship? I just laughed, correct me if I'm wrong, royal family. Didn't Kenya say once a cheater, always a cheater as it pertains to Tanya's man? Was that Tanya's man that she was saying that about? But as far as Mike is concerned, she was talking all this redemption talk and you can change. Everybody's allowed to change their mind, right? So we move on to Cynthia. She is at her wine cellar. She's on the phone with Eva, and she is waiting for Nene to arrive. Now, as Nene arrives, right, when Nene arrives, you see that Cynthia is so giggly. Like, she's so giggly and she's excited. They were very friendly. Nene was excited to be there too. It just seemed genuine, just like old times. But Cynthia was really giddy and giggly. Like, she was so excited to be back with her friend, because I don't know what they are now. Anyway, so Nene wants to know, what did Cynthia mean when she called her toxic? So at this point, they're sitting down, and when she called her a toxic friend, because apparently that is still bothering Nene. I just don't think that Cynthia did a good job explaining herself when Nene asked her a question. It's like she asked you a direct question, and you kind of danced around, and you didn't really make any sense. And Cynthia then admitted that her use of the word toxic was a little bit harsh or a little bit strong. And then I just laughed. I'm like, girl, why did you call her a toxic friend or said that the friendship was toxic? We still don't have an answer. I mean, some people who are not Team Nene, some people who are Team Nene, they can kind of see how the friendship was kind of toxic, according to them. But I would have liked Cynthia to expound on that. She was not able to. So then the meeting went left. It just went totally left. And in my opinion, this is my opinion, I did notice that Cynthia started to get defensive, and she wanted to kind of like buck up, and her little stank attitude showed up. It was a whole bunch of back and forth. Well, you said this, you did this. Nene said that, you did several interviews saying that I was a bad friend, yada, yada. And I did one, and all of a sudden it was a problem. I didn't start talking until you started talking. Cynthia's like, you said some things about me, but you guys seen it. So Nene tells Cynthia, you know what, go ahead and have your moment. And what did Cynthia say? No, this is not about a moment, but if you're going to give it to me, I'll take it. It's like, what does that mean? Like, what? Then it got a little quiet, and then Nene kind of like left. She just quietly left. I just don't feel that Cynthia was being genuine when she started to get that attitude and she started to get defensive. Again, that's my opinion. I just really don't feel that she was being genuine. When Nene asked her directly, what do you mean by I was a toxic friend? She couldn't give a direct, straight up answer. Like, it came out of your mouth. You took pleasure in going around saying that she was a toxic friend. She was this, she was that. So how come now when you're face to face with her, you're tongue tied? You can't explain it. Whatever. Cynthia, she goes on after Nene left. Cynthia says that Nene ran out because she was confronted with the truth. What truth? I don't really know what do you mean by that, Cynthia? Like, she says that Nene has a hard time accepting the truth. Well, okay, that may be true, but in that instance, you didn't say anything to make her run out. I think that she realized that you were doing it for a moment. That's why she said, go ahead and have your moment. And you weren't able to explain anything that you said. You just kept talking about what Nene did. And she's just like, you know what? I'm not giving her this camera time. I'm out. So she says that Nene always wants her to run behind her and kiss her behind. And then she goes outside to see about Nene. And I think it's because Cynthia felt bad. Like, you didn't have to go after Nene. I do think that Cynthia wants to be Nene's friend, but she's between a rock and a hard place. And that rock and hard place is Kenya. I'm just saying. So Nene, she was crying about being called, a toxic friend. And Cynthia's apologizing. Now, like I said, I know some of y'all are not Nene fans, and I know some people are not going to buy into Nene's tears. There were some people saying that there wasn't any tears streaming down Nene's face. And that's okay. That's okay. But they did have a conversation outside, which was good. And Cynthia says that, she is taking the high road as it pertains to apologizing to Nene, because she feels Nene struggles with accountability, with taking accountability. All right. What does that mean when people say, I'm going to be the bigger person, or I'm taking the high road? Like, I know what it means, but I don't, what is that? If you participate in the deterioration of a friendship, right? If it's two people, it's 50-50. So when one person says, I'm going to be the bigger person, I'm going to take the high road, that's as if like you're saying, I didn't do anything, but I'm going to fake apologize so things can be better. What does that mean? I don't know. So I don't like when people say that. I'm going to be the bigger person. No, you're showing your immaturity by even announcing that before you do what you're supposed to do, because you were 50% of the relationship deteriorating. Now, Cynthia, again, she did say things that hurt Nene. I mean, so again, what does taking the high road mean? Like, they both are equally responsible for saying things to hurt each other. So that, oh, I'm going to take the high road. You're responsible for what you said, so I'm confused. Yeah, don't tell me I'm going to be the bigger person and apologize. Like, you can keep that. If that's how you're going to start out apologizing, keep it. Like, if you don't want to apologize to somebody, then don't, because that's phony. Nene did apologize, and she told Cynthia that, you know, she never wants to hurt her. She says she does not want to ever do anything to hurt Cynthia. That's not her intention, and she did apologize. Now, I do feel that they needed to have that private conversation without any extras, you know, around. I think that it was overdue that the two of them actually have a conversation. And I will say this, as long as Cynthia is friends with Kenya, Nene and Cynthia won't be able to repair what's left of their friendship. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think that Nene feels, not Nene, but Kenya feels, she feels like some sort of obligation to Kenya, because, can we be honest? I think that Kenya and Nene's, not Nene, I keep saying Nene. I think that Kenya and Cynthia's friendship was built solely on the fact that Kenya doesn't like Nene, and she was kind of waiting for the opportunity for Nene and Cynthia to fall out, and Cynthia wasn't talking to Nene at the time. So it's like, okay, well, let me give Kenya a try. And I think she kind of befriended Kenya to kind of throw digs at Nene. So that friendship wasn't built on anything genuine. Again, this is my opinion. That friendship was not built on anything genuine, and I don't foresee it lasting. So as long as Cynthia and Kenya are friends and they're cool, that Kenya is not going to allow Cynthia to be friends with Nene. It's just not going to happen. She's going to make her feel guilty about it. She's going to come in between it. She's going to cause division. She's going to pick fights. She's going to tell Cynthia, how could you be friends with her? She's so toxic. And I think Cynthia knows that. So moving along to Marlo. We see Marlo, she's getting ready for Nene's little Lions, Tigers, and brunch, or whatever the heck it is. And she calls Portia. And Portia says that she's not going because Nene did extend an invitation to everyone, Portia and Kenya included. And Portia says that Nene's invite came across as aggressive because she hasn't heard from Nene all this time. Now, mind you, Portia did say that Nene is blocked. So Nene can't call you or text you if you have her blocked, sis. And what do you mean her invitation was a little aggressive? And she thought that Nene was throwing shade at her in the invitation. I'm like, oh, girl, whatever. So we move on to Cynthia and Eva. They're riding together to the event. Cynthia is telling Eva that Nene walked out and started crying at their meetup. But I noticed, this could be editing, that Cynthia did not mention that she went outside, checked on Nene, and the conversation continued with both of them apologizing to one another. Did you guys catch that? Eva starts feeling contractions. Candy shows up, and they're all sitting around saying, oh my God, Candy was the only one who calls Dr. Jackie, but Eva said that she didn't want to go to the hospital. Huh? So what were you going to do? Just like hope the contractions go away and the baby just stays up in there? Cynthia goes to take Eva to the hospital, so she leaves. And at this point, Tanya arrived, and Tanya looks fabulous with her happy-go-lucky self. So Tanya and Candy, they're talking. Kenya actually shows up because Nene invited her. Now, the party started at 2 o'clock or something like that. Nene's late. Kenya showed up late, but Nene showed up like 2 hours late, which is crazy. You know, Kenya, she ends up leaving after waiting for 7 minutes. And she's like, oh, I'm not going to wait if Nene is not here. Right. You left because there was no opportunity for a moment. Okay. So you only stayed there for 7 minutes and left. Fine. Nene, she finally arrives, and it's just Candy, Tanya, and Nene, or so we thought. But Nene brings out all these other women, these ladies to this brunch, and I'm just like, who the heck are these people? So Candy doesn't think that these are Nene's real friends. So I'm like, who are these ladies? So apparently Nene has a women's group. What is it called again? Is it Ladies Who Lunch or Ladies Who Brunch? Something like that. She's had many of why am I tongue drawing a blank here? She had like little shows, not shows, but things, programs, events. She had several events like in Miami. She's always in Miami. And this is like, I guess, her girl group. And she says, you know, these are ladies who are successful ladies, and these are her girlfriends, and they promote sisterhood, yada, yada. So Candy says that, you know, these are not Nene's real friends, and who are these ladies? And at this point, Candy's really getting on my nerves. You know, I'm going to keep it real. I never cared for Candy throughout all the seasons. You know, I have my moments where it's like, okay, Candy, I agree with you. But overall, she just, I don't know, whatever. Why does it matter if these are her real friends or not? Maybe because they thought that this brunch was going to be Nene inviting all of the Housewives cast and her, I guess, apologizing to everybody. I think that's what they thought. Nene pulled a straight up okie doke. Yeah, it was kind of corny, but I'm not mad at it. She can do whatever she want to do. Why are you so pressed? Anyway, so basically this event, again, is something that Nene does with her ladies group. It is an actual brunch. It's something that she does every year, so it wasn't just made up for the show. Marlo shows up, and then Portia actually shows up. So we didn't think that Portia was coming, but because she said she wasn't, but she showed up. I mean, this scene was a lot. It was a lot going on. I think Eva called from the hospital, and Portia and Nene were talking, and Candy's sitting like in between them. And Nene's just like, okay, well, I'm talking to Portia. Like, she didn't really care about, she didn't really care that Cynthia was calling to give an update on Eva. You know, it is what it is. So Portia says that, you know, she, again, with this bigger person crap, that she was going to be the bigger person. And she talked to her mother, and her mother said, well, you were extended an invitation. So what can be the harm in going? So again, Candy, this scene was so long. Like, I'm starting to get exhausted just talking about it. All right, let's wrap this up. So Candy says that this sisterhood leopard brunch was fake as blank. And I just think that Candy was only saying that because there was no drama. She probably was expecting Nene to apologize and talk to Kenya and this and that, and talk to Cynthia and probably get embarrassed. I don't know. But I noticed that when Kenya showed up, you know, Tanya wasn't really giving her much. You know, she said hi to Tanya, and Tanya just sat there smiling, looking fabulous. And see, 7 minutes and she left. I cannot. So that was the end of it after all of that. I mean, God, that was long. So what do you guys think about Nene inviting her women's group to this brunch? Again, this is something that she does do every year. And you know what I find interesting? I don't think any of the ladies from Real Housewives of Atlanta has ever attended any of her conferences that she does. I know that there are other celebrities that are a part of her women's group and that have gone and have taken and posted pictures on social media. But I don't recall seeing any of the ladies supporting her, her group. So when Candy was really annoyed at the fact that this was a fake sisterhood, why was she so bothered? I'm a little confused about that. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Nene should not have brought her, or she should have told the ladies that this is something that she does every year? But why don't they know that, though? They really don't care about Nene, I guess. Why don't they know that? Like, you know, everybody knows everybody's business, so-and-so, quote-unquote, whose man is doing this. But why don't you know that this is something that Nene does on a yearly basis? Did Nene pull the ultimate okie doke? Was she wrong for having these other women there? Now, I will say this. Those women were staring at... They were staring at, like, Portia and Candy. Like, they were looking at them with the stank face. There was one girl... There was one girl who was really looking like, so I wasn't really feeling that. So let me know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. This video is long enough. That scene was so exhausting. It was so long and drawn out. Make sure you get down in the comments and share your thoughts. Those of you who are not fans of Nene, that's totally fine. Make sure you are respectful when you are disagreeing. You don't have to agree with anything that I said. I always say that, but we can disagree respectfully. Make sure you are hitting the like button on your way out if you haven't done so already. If you are new here, hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you join our royal family. So royal family, that's it. My throat is dry and I need something to drink. So I will meet you guys down in the comments. Until next time, peace.